Mike, question then to you. So I sort of presented my view on the reality, how I sort of see the reality based on the technological or technology existence and involvement of humanity in order to create this technology within the last, let's say, 200 years, and the speed and the progress and how fast it goes, and what our humankind can achieve within the next 1,000 years or 2,000, and why this cannot be, let's say, beginning of new reality created by us as human creatures.
Digital
version,
realities.
Which, in my opinion, might be what or where we are actually right now. How you see that? Because I know that you've got a slightly different view on that. Although the point where we go is the same, but you've got a different way to go there.
I just make a shortcut. There's what is the hypothetical called the virtual reality computer model idea is a popular thing to discuss, a popular idea, and we couldn't discuss those without computers. Before the computer age, we couldn't discuss it. But now it's been put out there by some philosopher, and I can't remember his name, and it doesn't really matter. And he's created it with a number of propositional questions. If this is so, then this must be so, and this must be so. And if all three are so, then the chances are we are living in a virtual reality, a computer-generated virtual reality. And I was listening to this, and it's very, very convincing. But my experiences are different anyway. I could be wrong, and he could be right, and I'm quite happy to accept the fact that, I could be a computer program. Fine, I wouldn't know. But the argument goes that because we're advancing in digital technology, over 1,000 years we could get so good that
we could replicate
reality in such a way that it's indistinguishable from reality, physical reality. And with that sort of time, that's just with our timeline and our technology and the way we could be going now. So the chances are a more advanced civilization has already reached that. Or we have already reached that, and then we've created these programs as sort of historical experiences that we can go into. And because of the nature of creating programs, if we take this world as one reality, the Earth, we've got thousands and thousands and thousands of different virtual programs created. So it outnumbers the one reality. So the chances are, if the chances are greater that there's in the future there's going to be a lot more virtual realities than real realities, base realities. So by that argument, the chance that we're living in a base reality is very small, and the chance is great that we're living in virtual reality.
But
my
I guess that
argument,
say now, but
this is assuming that the only way mankind is going to develop is technological, digital. And I don't see that at all, because I know from my own experiences, and for the audience that's listening, I know you two know it, I've had out-of-body experiences, lucid dreams, to such an extent that I've studied the realities I'm in. I've studied the environments I've been in. I've been awake enough to wander around it as if I'm walking around a physical world, and I've explored it. I've touched objects and analysed them and said, but this is a wooden table. But is it? I know it isn't because I know I'm asleep in my bed or I'm meditating. And I walk and I can sense heat and I can sense cold, rain, I can sense rain, I can feel it, although I don't actually get wet. I can swim underwater and breathe. I can experience gravity, what keeps me on the ground, yet I can fly. I can let go of that gravity. So there's certain rules that are there. But it's no different than this reality.
Can I ask you a question here?
No, just let me finish. You can, hold the question. Let me continue my line of thought here. So I know a virtual reality that is indistinguishable from this reality is already possible. We already have the technology to do that with our minds. And I think as mankind advances, it's going to discover this and it's going to say, we don't need technology. We don't need digital computers and head masks and things like that. So at one point they're going to discover they can all do this. Mankind can do this. Why do we need somebody to do it for us with computers? There's no business that's going to survive creating worlds, virtual worlds, when you can create them yourself. You're not going to pay £1,000 for the newest technology for Apple to give you a virtual reality close to this reality, if you can actually do it yourself. So it never assumes, that argument never assumes that we can already do it and it's already perfect. And all we need is practice to get into it. What we might need from technology is the interface to actually stimulate our mind to go into that state, but that's it. Once you're in that state, you can create anything without programs. So they never take that argument in. And it's like if you say 1,000 years is going to give us virtual reality computer games equal to this reality, but in 200 years you actually realise that you can have out-of-body experiences and go to any world you want. What's going to happen to the industry that's in 800 years? It's not going to develop. So the chances for me, my belief is we're anyway in a virtual reality, but it's a virtual reality created by mind and not by computer, and we never will need to get to that because we can already do it. So the whole argument doesn't fit. You know, it's like saying, yeah, in the 200 years we'll be able to get from here to another city in 2 hours because our cars are going to be that good, without taking into account that you can also fly there. You know, it's cutting out one technology and saying we're going to rely just on this one technology, and I don't think we'll ever develop that technology because we won't need to, because we've already got a way to do it right here, right now, and we've had it for thousands of years, and it's the human mind.
So now here I come with my question,
Yeah.
okay?
Da, 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 da.
So the question is, I'm pretty sure that you got these lucid dreams, which are sort of like a real dream, so you can be an active traveler within your dreams. But comparing to standard dreams, when you dream and you know that you're dreaming, I mean, you know, you just go through some story, which is your dream. But if you remember from normal dreams, standard dreams, that whenever you touch something or you feel something or you hit something, you get the sensation of real reality, I mean physical reality. So now my question is, don't you think that in your lucid dreams, whenever you say, oh, it's a table, or it's solid, I did this, or oh, I'm tasting a beer, or whatever, don't you think that this is sort of virtual reality? This is not real. I mean, it's as real as the real world when you're not sleeping. Why? Because your brain might simply telling you, whenever you look like consciously in your dream at something, oh, is this a table? And then you touch it, you've got this sensation of a real table because your brain is producing this sensation, which means that not necessarily what you feel is really real, I mean, in this dream. So what I'm trying to say is this real reality, which we call it real, and your dream, which you call that this is a separate reality, also real, not necessarily need to be a real reality, because it might be a just imagination of your brain. Your brain produces this reality for you for enjoyment, because you need to sleep.
So there's two ways you can look at this. One, you can say, this is real, and that is an imagination that feels real.
Yes.
There's another way of saying it. That feels real, and this feels real. I know that's not real. I conclude that this one is also not real.
Correct.
That's the way
Correct.
I choose to make my conclusion.
Yes.
And that's what it's learned me, because I've seen it, I've experienced it as real, knowing that it's not real, being able to prove it to myself by saying, hard table, but now I'm going to put my arm through it, and I can put my arm through it, all the way through. Gravity, I'm standing on the ground. I'm not sinking in the ground, but I can float if I want to. It's choice, it's intention. So my sort of subconscious is creating a real world that's got the same laws as this one, because this is what I'm used to. But at the same time, my awareness is telling me it's not, so I can override whatever laws have been set in place, where my mind is set in place through expectancy and pattern and familiarity. So I know it's not real, so I can override all those laws. And then when I come back to this world, I said, well, what is the proof then that this world really exists, and why couldn't this also be just a product of my mind, with particular laws, expectations set in place that give me a certain experience? And that's my conclusion, and I enjoy this world as with the idea that it's not really real, it's just an illusion. It just gives me a bigger picture on all of existence, and enables me to take it lightly and not be so wrapped up in it.
Let me comment with one more thing, and then we pass the microphone to here, because he's just watching us and listening us and not actively debating.
He's lining up all the questions.
That's an illusion.
He's lining up the questions one for one.
But before I pass it on to you here, just one more remark to what you said, Mike. I'm not sure if you've been following a movie called Star Trek. Why I want to use this example? The Star Trek, one of the series of Star Trek in 80s with Jean-Luc Picard. Just imagine people traveling huge distances on a huge crafts or spaceships. And for their entertainment, they created hologram.
Yeah.
Hologram is just a room.
There's a holodeck.
And the one room when they create unreal reality, which is as real as the real one to them. That includes also that whoever is part of this hologram, this artificial creatures created visually for this crew of the ship, they are also conscious, but to some extent, of course. But they are so conscious that at some point when they in this holodeck, and there's a movie actually, one series about only being in this holodeck and going through some difficult situations over there. At the end, the lady from this holodeck, so only creation of the computer program, asks Jean-Luc Picard, Jean-Luc, so now you're leaving, what is going to happen to us when you leave? And he was speechless. He said, like, what can I say? Maybe I'll come back to you and we can have another round of discussions. So he was not on the position to say straight away to her, like, you're going to just be put on hold. You will stop existing. You will cease exist. But what doesn't mean cease exist? She existed. She felt like she existed. She was the figure over there. So you see this aspect of reality?
You cannot. Well, I think about that with the dream characters I meet. I often think, what happens when I wake up? Do they cease to exist? I actually don't think they do.
You just exit.
I just exit.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of different things I think about what might be happening that, you know, it already exists before I get there. That's why you never remember the beginning of a dream. You're just suddenly in place. It's like, it's another reality, a parallel reality, you could say, that's running and it's telling its own story, and then you slip into it. When you're unconscious in this one, you slip into another reality because you resonate with it and you resonate with it. And its character's usually yourself, but it can be somebody else as well. And then there's an element of you there, an element of somebody else. And sometimes you don't know if you actually experience it or whether you're just watching it.
Yeah.
And that's strange with dreams. But it's like multiple reality and awareness levels overlapping each other. And that's why they're so confusing. But I've come to the conclusion, maybe because it's fascinating to me and I like that, is that those characters carry on when I leave. They have their own life. I mean, I had
it's almost like you jumping into the running train, right?
Yeah,
but the train still goes.
Exactly, yeah. I had one where I an out-of-body experience through meditation, so I was also aware of that I was sitting here on my futon there. But then I started seeing different images, and at one point I could step into that image, and then I'm in the new reality. I know my body's still in this one, although I can't experience it anymore. While I'm seeing the images, I can still tap my fingers and still feel this reality while I'm only viewing images. But once I step into an image, I lose contact with this body. I know it's still there because my awareness is still functioning. And then I'm in this other room. It wasn't my house, but it was definitely my house because I was in it. There was another me in it. And when I confronted that other me did not want to know. It was so weird experience, you know. I was trying to make contact, I was trying to talk, and it was like walking around like this, trying to do things to keep me busy. It sensed there was somebody else there, but didn't want to know about it. It was the sort of reaction you'd have in this world if suddenly you saw somebody walking around your room that looked like you, or when you think, I can't handle this, you know?
Perhaps there's a parallel reality which you just step in, and in this reality there's you, and you seeing yourself, you start.
Well, think about it. Think about Gary, my brother, he talks about this a lot. He says, think about it when with people who have multiple personality disorders.
Mm-hmm.
Or yourself, how many personalities have you got? You know, you've got an angry you, you've got a pleasant you, you've got a friendly you, you've got a frustrated you, you've got an insecure you and a very secure you, confident.
And you've got
all these different people are different aspects of you, but they could also be different characters of you. But when you take it to the extreme, you see personality disorders where they're actually different personalities and different people. Now, where does that come from? Could that be somebody from another reality actually entering into them where they change completely? And maybe when you have a different personality change, you act out of character.
Yeah,
that's not you. That could be another you that's sleeping and has actually projected into you for a moment, and you don't understand why you're so angry at this moment because nothing's happened, but I mean you're not acting normal. Well, I don't know. These are just ideas about what could be happening. But
Mike, today's topic is reality, and we're talking about reality, but now sliding slightly into direction of dreams, which actually is really connected because it's a sort of different reality.
My reality is dream, and that's it.
Yeah.
But so obviously, for the sake of the conversation, you're going to put.
Let's go back to the dreams maybe next time when we talk about dreams purely. But now here, how I've seen you making some notes. So can you share some your thoughts? Or what would you like to say?
It started with the technological reality, and. My interest is in technical reality, but my trust is not there. And every time the people have a solution with the technical possibilities, or with a computer, or with something else, I always, well, let's have a look. And I know every solution has its, well, how you call it? Every solution you want to have will take you by surprise with its not cause, but what is belonging to the solution too. So they thought in the 80s, they started thinking, or maybe 90s, beginning 90s, that the computer was really okay for education and for the teachers to put in all the information about the children. And first thought, well, this will never go away, and this is complete illusion, because that's not what education is about. But go in it, try it, and every time when the complete all the teachers were behind the computer, then I called some quotes, and they didn't really like, because don't do so negative about it. This is good for the children. We know now what is happening. And well, that's for me the technical solutions are, well, you see it with the telephones, the technical solutions, the children and people, when the spring begins and very beautiful, very little on the trees is growing new life, and they are on the telephone. So they miss completely new spring. And for me, the technical reality is only, how you call it, afleiding, distraction from what is life about. And that's the for me, that's the exercise. Well, in the Middle Ages, the mystic people, the really religious monks, they knew it was about doing exercises and do something with that distraction. If the distraction is alcohol, or the distraction is telephone, but do something about it, and then you will meet real reality. So, well, this is a new challenge for me. The technical part is complete illusion. It's very attractive for me too. Very attractive, because you think, well, that's easy. But well, if you take a technical solution, electric bike or a car. You need. When I was 27 years old, I hated jogging. Just do physical. It's really heavy to carry your own body of 65 kilos, to carry it along for 5 kilometers or 10 or maybe 40. I didn't like that. I needed 1.5 years to do it, to be able to enjoy it. And I'm still doing it. But what if I didn't decide to do it for half a year? Then I never had discovered this doing it yourself. Yeah. And that's what technical solutions always do. They give you the illusion of the suggestion that this will solve that problem. Yeah. And that well, I think it will be very difficult for lots of people to do the exercises, or just have a look in springtime or in summertime or even winter, to enjoy the things that you can enjoy in nature in winter, because they are on the telephone.
I mean, it has created its own reality.
Its own reality.
There is a technical reality, a technological reality. People have their friends there. They have their conversations. They have their interests. They have their discussions and the whole identity through a machine, through a telephone.
Yeah.
I've got nephews who don't have any friends in this world. They've got friends, but they haven't met them in person. My sister's son, he's got friends all over the world, but he doesn't have any friends in his village. All his friends are through this telephone,
Yeah.
and he doesn't have any personal contact with them.
But is this
And
something
this is-
necessarily wrong or bad?
It is
or-
different. It's a different
It's
reality.
different, but
This
it
is
is
a
what-
reality.
What my point
But-
was that I don't trust this
No,
reality.
exactly.
That's my feeling. I don't trust it, and I never trusted it.
Because what it's doing, it's distracting from the rest of the experience, and the rest of the experience is much bigger. It's narrowing it down and saying, this is where you should be focused. Now it has some benefits, but it has a lot of disadvantages as well. But what the big danger is, it's very easy because it's small and narrow, very easy to manipulate.
Of course, that's what I wanted to say.
And the freedom comes in being able to step out of it and view everything else and use it and look at it and then say, oh, okay, I can be in that reality for a couple of hours a day because I've got things to do, and that's where the information is. But I still live in a wider reality. And the longer I'm in there, the more I'm going to be trapped in there, and the more I'm in danger of being manipulated or losing myself in that and thinking that's all there is, and then forgetting everything else.
But gentlemen, I understand that, but I know there's a certain group of people who are not aware enough of this danger going that direction. Because certainly there is a danger.
But even the people who are
but-
running these the leaders of social media companies, there's a lot of them talking about how dangerous it is if this gets out of hand.
That's correct, but you've got still group of people like, let's say, like me or you. We know that this exists. We know that this should be something filtered or, let's say, used only on a limited time base, not on constantly. I know it's very profitable and very and giving you a lot of information in one go, because you just open up one application on your phone and you just follow link by link, click, and you get summarized information within 10 minutes. What has happened on the entire world. But obviously, if you know how to use it, and if you know there are some catches here and there, I still believe that we can use it.
Oh yeah,
Just like you use books.
yeah.
Yeah. So I agree
It's
with
more
you.
difficult to throw them to a person that you don't
Yeah.
like, but
No, but I agree that you don't feel comfortable perhaps with new technology because it's different. But my father used to say some things which he didn't like with his parents, and his parents, he told me, they didn't like something with their parents. But it doesn't mean that we need to just stick to what it is and every single day just watch on the trees in the parks. No.
but my trusting it is not about my not liking it or liking it. That's not the problem. It's only I don't trust the solutions it suggests. So it suggests a solution, and you always have to include the disadvantage. Then.
Can you provide me with the example? What kind of you don't trust the solution? What kind of solutions? just one example, because I just want to understand what you're talking about.
If I'm recording music, it's really great possibilities. It has very easy. You can record music, but the danger is that I'm not playing music myself, but only listening. So I'm gonna grow some sort of only a head, and my fingers don't know how to play the bass guitar. That's what I'm playing. So it's always it gives you some sort of solution. You can give a suggestion that it's very good music, but if you go really into it, you forget playing yourself. And feeling, what do I want? Oh, I want to play a banjo too. I want to play another instrument, and not only being on the...
But here it's just a matter of choice.
It's a matter of choice.
Days, because you can still just grab the guitar and you can play on it, or you can go and start your computer program, and just play your guitar, or even play your guitar, record it, and then use it as one of the audio paths for other paths and create something bigger. It's like, I don't want to say that I don't agree with you because I know where you're going, but where you're heading. But this direction seems to me not really correct. Why? Because
No,
if we,
but let me. It's not the
No,
complete.
but-
not the not the complete. Because I really get tired of
Mhm.
sitting on, and that's you don't feel it. And if I'm exercising on a real instrument, I really get energy of it. So that's the choice you have. What am I doing? But I get energy of the real playing with people.
But technology gives you the opportunities. Now you can play on your guitar, or you can just play on a computer, or you can go outside and play with the band, or you can do more.
Yeah.
You've got a wider range of options to
Why,
choose.
why can't he do more? Because he's aware of the disadvantages of the technology. There's a lot of people who are in the technology, the normal people who use technology, who are not aware of what it's doing to them because they have got no experience of anything outside of that technology. So it's limited their experience of of being, and they are manipulated, and definitely manipulated, because the whole thing is geared towards hooking them, addicting them to that technology, and they become addicted. Now, they don't even use it to its full advantage because they have got no awareness of anything outside of that to actually to reference it. You know, if you say, well, I'm going to use this technology to find out about this, about Goethe or Steiner or somebody else.
Mhm.
No, they don't know about Goethe Steiner, so they're not going to go and find it in there because they've let out this, they've lost this other world, that they've got no reference points to use this technology to their full advantage. All they know about is what they've learnt on it, which is a very narrow band of knowledge and utility. And all the time they're being steered down a certain path, and then you've got to look at okay, what's humanity going to be? What's the generations going to be? 100 years down the road, if all they've ever known is this way of being. People are already having problems. Children are having problems in social situations. Well, it might not be a big problem, and you might not see it as a big problem now, but imagine if you've got a whole society of people who can't talk to each other.
Another maybe more simple car.
Mhm.
If I go with the car with my family to the south of France, 1,200 kilometers, I think it takes me 4 days to be normal, to be recovered. I can't read anymore. I can't concentrate anymore. If I go by bike, I arrive 14 days later maybe, but I'm really clear in my mind. And that's what I'm addicted to, my clearness in my mind, and being able to look at the world. And if I do it by bike, if I have the time for it, then I'm really in a different consciousness.
State of mind. I understand. The thing is that we have the technology to help us. If it slows you down, you don't have to use it. But just take into consideration that by taking your bike, you'll be in France in 2 weeks. By car, you can be in 1 day. So there's a price certainly behind that, right? And you have to pay for it. Let's say you're tired, exhausted, whatever.
So that's the
disadvantage. But there's an advantage, which is that you are in 1 day over there.
But
you can enjoy.
But you didn't enjoy the road to it. You didn't enjoy the villages people spoke to you. You didn't enjoy the coffee in the bar to bar
But
in
you are
the villages.
in 1 day over there, so we've got 13 days to enjoy locals. So it depends how you look at it.
It's reference.
I'm not saying that technology is bad
exactly.
or good. It
No.
just gives you some pros and cons.
But you have to feel it yourself. What it is,
Yeah.
what the disadvantage for you is, and for another person
But,
is.
but gentlemen, we're switching again now to the technology and the development.
Oh, yeah.
We're talking about today.
That was the introduction to technology.
And it's also crossing over the line onto awareness, because nothing's too dangerous if you're aware.
No.
You know,
indeed.
And the technology has got this problem that it stops people developing their awareness. And that's not just, I mean, it was done with television years ago, you know. Television has created a society of slaves to the television. And that's their reality. Everything else on the television. My father is one, not with the television, but with his newspaper. He doesn't believe anything unless it's in his newspaper. And that sort of thinking comes along. And really what this whole project about, your channel, is about just the expansion of awareness and being able to discuss different ideas, because television doesn't tell you to do that. You know, computer doesn't necessarily tell you to do that.
It depends how you use it, but I agree. I know what you mean. But once again, we're talking about the generations. Your father used to read newspapers. If the information is in the newspaper, it means it's real. My father used to watch TV all the time, and that was his medium, and that was his direction. A couple of days every single day. I said no, I'm not going to do that. But I spent some time in front of the computer, right? This is actually part of my job, so I need to do it. But it doesn't mean that it puts the flaps on my eyes, right? I still got the wide angle of looking at the reality, and I really tend to look left and right whenever I can. The thing is that you have to be aware of that fact, and you have to be willing to do that. That's another thing, because people are just really go like a hose with the flaps. They just want to watch something which is delivered to them in the easiest way, and just suck it, give it to me more.
Yeah.
Which is the easiest way.
That's touches also on another subject. Where does what creates the difference between people who choose to be blinkered and be fed their information, and people who prefer to go out to research it and look for it and make their own decisions on what's important to them? There's two different streams there. Well, there's three different streams, because there's another stream that's from top to down saying,
yeah, you can do this and that.
Who can I control? You know, and so what is the impulse? I mean, that's for another time, another conversation. But what is it that makes somebody, like Fiat said in his introduction, wakes him up at 5 years of age, or 4 years of age, and wonders about death? What is it about me that woke me up? Well, I know what it was. It was a wooden spoon, but that's besides the point. You know, I could have just cried all day. And what is about you? Even with this technology, you're not just interested in the technology, you're interested in something way beyond physical.
Indeed.
Universe, and digital technology.
But it helps me to understand, to help me to understand how this reality we are in might be built.
And without it, you wouldn't be able to create this channel.
And that's also inspiration for myself to go further and explore some different areas, and just to have this project and talking to you, and that's not fun. It's not about fun. It's about experience again.
And it can be fun.
But fun at the same time, yes. Fun at the same time.
Yeah, that's my stock answer. In first instance, it's fun.
But anyway, you got. I think you've got another point related to the reality, and then let's finish this off for now, because we can talk about reality for hours. We know, but I think that you wanted to say something more. Am I right?
No, not about the technical.
Not technical, just reality, no?
Reality, but the technical reality, I didn't trust from the beginning. But I was interested in it. So it's not the Zen and the art of motorcycling maintenance. You have two different groups: one who's interested in technical thing, and one who only wants to use it and it must be working. So for me, it's a combination of interest and not trusting the solutions, and that's maybe my work, my being a teacher. And not being only as work, but as my complete being is development. What is development? So that's for me the reality. What makes people move? What makes them making a step?
Computers and technology is another subject through which to research that theme of
No.
yours.
No.
No, it's interesting. I mean, not using it it's not the point. It's part of it, but basically, what's it doing?
What's it doing? And the same is we're playing football, making volleyball, or playing music. It's the same thing. It's about what is making people making steps, and about same with myself. Why do I enjoy my exercises, and other people only want to play for people? That's not what my interest is.
But before we close off this topic, to sum it up, or let's say to have a conclusion to both of you, do you still believe that this reality is real? And if it's real, to which degree it is real? Can you somehow describe it?
It's real as an experience. All reality, every reality, as far as I'm concerned, all reality is basically created in mind. So it's as an objective thing, it's an illusion. As a subjective thing, it's real as an experience. But it's I don't believe in physical matter. I don't believe in that's the other thing, isn't it? Yeah. Physical matter in the table, things like that. I think everything. I don't even believe in the idea of physical distance. So we've got a universe. We explore the universe, but these planets are no different from the table for me. It's all an illusion created in mind. And that is my fundamental starting point for everything about reality.
But if you believe that this world is an illusion, how can you say that something is illusion if you can touch it, if you can feel it?
Because it's the experience. It's like I can touch it in a dream.
So the experience is not an illusion, but...
No, the experience is never an illusion.
So do you believe that this table is here today?
No.
Where is it then?
It doesn't exist. It exists nothing except in mind. Not necessarily because you've got to think of mind as being a greater spectrum of consciousness. And I have got a local consciousness here, but a greater consciousness beyond that. But my local consciousness experiences this as real. But that's it. And it's not, because if I'm in a higher consciousness, my higher consciousness would understand this is not real, and if that higher consciousness was to sit here next to me now, that higher consciousness would be able to put its hand through the table.
I understand, but where's this block, where's this lock which is telling you that, which is actually causing you not being able to go through this table?
Yeah, that
with
is
your hand?
in intention of look at it in the analogy, metaphor of, say, a story writer. As the writer, I can say all tables are hard, and this particular subject character knows it's an illusion, but he still can't put his hand through it. I make the decision, and because I write that decision down, that's the rule of this book, this story. And the higher consciousness makes a rule for here, and we who experience it have to abide by those rules.
So you're telling me now that actually you're playing a role of the God, sort of creator.
Yeah, I am.
You are the creator.
I'm part of the creator, but I'm also the created.
Okay, so it goes with the
and I'm limited by what the rules are created for this environment.
Even though not being conscious about it, because you are born here and you think like you are a human being, but actually you believe, or you tend to believe that this is sort of a reality created by your higher yourself for
higher
you to
consciousness.
experience.
A part of me is in that, but basically all reality is created ultimately by higher. I say higher. It's nothing to do with height.
Mm-hmm.
It's just more complete. Forms of consciousness, sources of consciousness.
But
so
how does it cope with his reality?
Well,
So I mean, if you are in this reality, why he's in your reality?
well,
is it your
he's
reality
in
or
my
is it a mixed reality?
Because we're all part of the same mind. You know, this is it. We're all part of this. It's just, if you see this life as a story created by a higher mind, look, we're all characters in this story, and we have ideas, we have relationships and everything. And but some of the laws of this story is all tables are hard and so forth, and gravity exists. And if you cut yourself or you burn yourself, it hurts, and you experience it as pain, and you get old and you die. You know, these are just storylines for me.
I understand.
And as a character, I cannot get out of that. But if I have an out-of-body experience and go to another reality, I'm not the character in that reality, so I can do other things. You know.
Okay, but let me assume. Let me sum it up. So you sort of consider that there's a writer. It might be you, but not you personally. You, because you personally, you is Mike here right now in this physical reality. You are here, but we all three and all of us connected to the same writer.
Yeah.
Is this?
Yeah.
It?
I mean, I can
understand?
see it more complicated. So you've got the original writer who writes lots of different ideas down, and somewhere down the line, he creates, say, higher consciousness characters, and they can create for themselves. And it's like the writer writes about writers, writing about writers who write about human beings.
Mm.
Yeah. And if those human beings happen to be a writer, they can write other characters as well. So it's just, it's again your tree, it's your fractal of basically mind creating stories.
Mm.
That's about as easy as I can put it. It's clear.
The topic about
Probably not clear, but it's as clear as I can put it.
The topic about our creation, you know, and us as a human beings, it's another story to talk about. And I think that saying what we just said, let's conclude this discussion. Unless you want to say something.
A conclusion.
Conclusion. For me, I agree. The reality as experience with Mike, but for me I really enjoy it. So that's the difference.
I don't. I hate every second of it. I mean, never again, ever. No. Actually, I'm looking forward to the next time. I'm wondering about it, you know. But yeah, there was some guts that was about the difference between us. My analogy when I talk about storylines and is that when I talk about story. And us being characters in the story is also involves the fact that we all have a character role to play, and we all have a particular theme. And my theme, even though we're all lined up, my theme is different from your theme, and it's different from Geer's theme. You know, even though the end result might be the same, we have different ways of going about it because we have different priorities within our storyline.
I think this gives me an idea that next time we might try to touch the topic of or subject of what's the purpose of us then being part of this reality.
Purpose is a good one.
Why would the writer write the different story for you, for Geert, and for me, and for the others?
Purpose.
Perhaps the purpose of existence.
So, to finish off, there was a client of mine. I came in into his house, and he had this computer on, and the guy works for Philips. He's basically a glorified salesman. He makes deals all over the world to promote Philips products. He was in between what they call them, conference talks, and he just had his screensaver on, and his screensaver had the words "Live your purpose," and my first thought of, is this it? Is that your purpose? I didn't get a chance to ask him, but I still intend to do that. Is that your purpose? To work in front of the computer and sell products for Philips? That's what you came to this earth to do. Is that your purpose? Are you living it? You know?
He didn't explain his purpose, because the selling of those things can make
can be
real-
part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't spoken to him about
This
it.
was
I haven't
the
spoken-
means he used to.
No, this is just a screensaver.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
probably provided by Philips
Philips.
as promotional,
Yeah.
you know, optimism and
To push
Yeah.
people to
yeah,
to do
precisely,
something.
and so we had it on, but it seemed so ludicrous, and for somebody to think that, you know, that might be his purpose. It could be a way to discovering his purpose,
Yeah.
but I don't know whether he's that far in
Yeah.
his thinking.
Right. Okay. Thank you very much, Mike and
You're
Geert.
welcome.
That's been a pure pleasure.
As Kate would say, it's been fun.
And thank you guys for watching us, and see you next time. Thanks.